The banks are trying to make you lose faith today. We're going to be breaking that down in a very interesting way where maybe hope is actually being reinstilled into crypto. Let's just jump into it. Before we get into it, I do want to thank our sponsor, and this is a special offer for you guys. OKX is running an exclusive affiliate offer where you can earn up to $500 in XRP rewards just by hitting a few simple milestones. Step 1, Tier 1, you can complete the KYC. You get $10 in XRP. If you go to Step 2, which is $100 on a deposit, you get another $40. Then you can bump that deposit and trade volume of just $1,000 and you grab an additional $100 in XRP. Best of all, for the heavy hitters out there, if you deposit and trade 10 grand, you can unlock a massive $350 XRP reward. This stacks onto all of this. So boom, you get up to $500 max earning, and it's paid directly out in XRP. So click the link down below. You guys are not going to miss this one. It is an awesome one. I do want to start off first with a clip. And this, of course, is going into what Cynthia Lummis, Senator Lummis, is saying about clarity. Take a look.
We're finally to the point where we're going to put out a text over the July 4th and give people one last really thorough look at the bill. And then we're moving in July.
You're going to move in July, but the banks are fighting it.
And the banks are fighting it, and they're fighting it in a very new and intriguing way. And that is right here. This was a letter to the administration officials. You'll notice here, getting the issue of law enforcement behind the banks, actually going in and getting all of law enforcement, including sheriffs, prosecutors, you name it, to support the issue of what clarity may bring. So as you can see, they are digging deep. The only thing bigger than law enforcement, well, you'd have to go on the side of faith. And there you have it. Crypto's Clarity Act now has a new enemy, and that is the Catholic leaders. Look at some of the things they're focusing on right now. Catholic social teaching calls upon uphold solidarity, protect vulnerable, and ensure that economic systems are ordered toward justice rather than exploitation. Notice here the word exploitation. I always say the banks have been exploiting many things greater than what we have seen anything coming out of Clarity. The group also specifically called out section of the Clarity Act dubbed the Blockchain Regulatory Certainty Section, BRCA. You guys know this because this would exempt developers of decentralized software from criminal prosecution. So essentially, you make software, you could be a bad guy. And this is the Catholic Church now starting to come behind what's going on within the bank's challenge of going forward. And let's remember that there were some ties with even Jeffrey Epstein with some of these banks. So that in itself, I think, is counterproductive of what the Catholic Church is trying to do. And so much so that there's been a lot of people out there online that are seeing right through this. Watch this one.
I'm Catholic. I was born and raised Catholic. Well, I had to do the thing or whatever. But it's like, shut up. What are you guys doing?
The Catholics didn't have any problem with the Clarity Act when it was in the House. We're in the fourth quarter.
Some ivory tower reigning over these two entities is telling them what they need to say.
They went and donated some money to some Catholic organizations to influence them to get on board. This has nothing to do with human trafficking.
The law enforcement people, they don't have a valid concern, but it is their place to say something. The Catholic Church is not.
So if you look at the JP Morgan Chase Foundation, their annual giving right now, $315 million. So it's possible. Yeah, there could be some support there, definitely going into this. And I think you have to maybe look further into it, all the way into things they've done in the past in helping different religious organizations out there. This, of course, was a $17.5 million construction loan, $3.5 million in permanent loan. This was designed under JP Morgan Chase. So there are a lot of ties here, and this is definitely going a little deeper into the pool because remember, I think the Christian faith is probably one of the larger voting blocks out there, especially when you look at Republicans and the kind of pressure this now might put on an unknowing Christian out there that's looking at this and say, wait a minute, is this bad for society? That's the concern, and I think the doubt they're trying to get into this. Let's go into this right here because this is the letter that was put out, all of the BVM that's involved in this. And when you look at who is involved in the BVM, well, guys, there it is, Sisters of Charity, and that's the Blessed Virgin Mary. Then what you're looking at is, are they taking advantage of some of these organizations and trying to leverage them? Basically, because they don't understand it. And they have a very powerful and passionate coalition that's geared towards something that does matter. The only problem, it has nothing to do with clarity. And I think that's the problem that we're dealing with. All right, so I want to go to a clip because this clip is of the ABA. It's Rob Nichols, pretty much the head of the banking army out there. And what they're trying to do, because they understand they need one more final thing to get what they want in the end. Take a look.
And while the Clarity Act that moved out of the Senate Banking Committee was far from perfect, it was much improved thanks to banker advocacy. And in the coming days, we'll be asking you to join us in a final, full-scale push to get the Senate to strengthen this critical piece of legislation.
So what is it that they're trying to do? And because we were following these guys for quite some time, and if you look on their website right there, first thing is this grassroots action alert. You drop into that and it is all about Main Street. Yeah, that's right. It's all the businesses, bank employees, community banks, restaurants, small businesses, hospitality, construction, farm and ranch. They are employing every entity out there to try to get that last bit of business away from clarity, because they understand, guys, this is pretty much the end of banking as we know it. If in fact that clarity gets underway, it's changing the dynamics of how the future of finance is going to be. And I think that's the reason they are fighting so hard. Stand with Crypto is out there. And I think this is another one. They will be voting. That's right. You guys will be voting. When you look at it, 74% of crypto owners more likely to support a candidate who backs clearer crypto regulations. I want every senator and congressperson to understand that's the kind of audience you are facing. And 47% of them say that they will absolutely vote on these single issues. So this to me is a major scenario that's playing into the midterms. If this does not go through, crypto users and owners, I think, will look at this as though as Congress has failed them. And then, of course, the payback will be in the midterms. Further into this, Ripple is joining the fight because they're going in and creating the Clarity truck. And the idea is, I like it, absolutely transparent, absolutely transparent, which is exactly what it is when it comes to the Clarity Act. Other things that are happening out there, you've got XRP is probably going to be one of the biggest losers here if, in fact, Clarity does not go through. And right now, it is hitting the 90-day SMA. So we are dealing with a pretty big pressure on the XRP token right now as it nears $1. If this doesn't go through, then who's going to be the winner? Well, there's going to be some alternatives here, and Ripple may be playing a card here. Take a look.
As we move towards more crypto strategies, more stable coin, I was in Asia 2 weeks ago, and the countries are all talking about creating their own stable coin. If we don't handle this properly, we are going to lose this right.
And Ripple's dollar-backed stablecoin, RLUSD, is now greenlit for usage in Japan after clearing the country's financial regulator, giving the token entry into one of Asia's most tightly regulated crypto markets. The Japan Financial Services Agency approved RLUSD as a new type of electronic payment instrument. Japan runs one of the strictest stablecoin regimes in the world, so clearing a foreign-issued dollar stablecoin for both institutional and retail use is a key regulatory step.
I put a tweet out on this yesterday when this news hit, because it's a pretty significant move here. XRP obviously will be part of this because RLUSD now is regulatorily approved in Japan. I think this may be a scenario where the United States may have already lost our pole position. In fact, we may already be behind the 8 ball on this, and this, I think, will play out pretty badly if, in fact, we do not get clarity going through. So Ripple is saving the US dollar with this new feature that's being implemented in Japan. And the likelihood of this accelerating is pretty big in terms of growth and opportunity, and the contagion effect in a good way in Asia will most likely be very competitive, meaning other countries, South Korea, you're going to see the Philippines, et cetera, starting to move very aggressively in this direction just to compete with what's going on in Japan. And it's already overtaken Ethereum in terms of the market cap by network. XRP is now the leader, even over Ethereum on RLUSD. So good for that, and I think it's going to be good for, in general, for Ripple. But the real question is how does this affect the United States if, in fact, we don't get a clarity situation really pulled together here? Now, the urgency issue is what is coming out of Congress right now, and we're hearing this in a lot of different ways right now. And I want to go to a clip because it might explain how this urgency may be the thing we need. Take a look.
What is the outlook to get the bill through the House and ultimately to the president's desk? Because I know I want to go to the signing ceremony. Yeah. I have bought a new dress to wear for when it happens. I'm manifesting
I love that.
It's bright red.
The Senate will almost never deliver a work product unless there is a clear and present and pressing timeline. We are not going to get this done if we don't get it done this year. That's the most likely scenario. I don't think failure is an option. I want to be able to tell you out of solidarity that I too have bought a new dress for the signing ceremony. I have not.
Eleanor Terrett hit on this very point. There is a renewed sense of urgency among GOP lawmakers, and all of this is driven by heightened political pressure following the fallout from the housing bill. And remember that the housing bill and the SAVE Act are kind of the two things that Trump is in the midst of right now. And this actually may have a connection to clarity, and I'll explain a little bit more here in a second. But I want to go to the fact that there is still momentum on this. Take a look.
Doubt. It was great to speak with Mike, Schwab's managing director of legislative and regulatory affairs. He told me that the desire from Congress is still there. There really is a push, but there are issues that remain. Particularly, there are some ethics concerns related to the Trump family and their crypto holdings, and the July 4th to the August recess. That time period is essentially now or never. And right now, the White House may have other legislative priorities. We heard a lot from President Trump about the Save America Act recently, but he has been also making a push to get clarity done too.
Trump might be onto something here, because if he can somehow get the Democrats, the housing bill, if they give him clarity, timing will be very critical here. But it's not really just 3 weeks there. We actually lose a week in there. So it really boils down to just the last 2 weeks in July and maybe that first week in August to try to get something locked up. Going into this. So, of course, we're going to have a hearing on it. This will be one of the things that takes up one of those weeks, which makes it even more urgent because the time is literally just out. And that's where we are right now. And to that, that clip right there that we played, I think the urgency on the Senate, I think he's right, because if you look back on getting through things through the Senate, it has been that way. They really go down to the last minute. And I think that's where we're going to be at right now. I want to go further into this because this is where Trump maybe has the leverage over Warren that he's been looking for, and it's related to the housing bill. Take a look.
Americans want housing costs to go down, and we have a law that is passed through the House, through the Senate, ready to go, and Donald Trump wakes up this morning and decides he just can't sign it into law. This is the biggest housing package coming out of the United States government in more than 30 years. And now all we need is Donald Trump just to say yes. We will get this bill passed. We will get it passed while the Republicans are still in control, or damn it, the Democrats will take over and we will get it passed. Sign the bill, Mr. President.
All right, so this could be a good play for Trump, and maybe he's using it that way. If he were to hold this hostage a little bit, he can't go too far, I don't think, but he would give the Democrats a win, especially going into the midterms. This would be a big deal. Right there, you can kind of see the poly market. It's pretty high on the probability of getting a chance of this getting signed in July. That's still starting in just a few days. So maybe Trump and the administration are finally in a good position where they could actually get the Clarity Act in exchange for signing off on the housing bill. So there might be a play here. But again, this is a very fine line. He can only push it so far because you got, of course, Maxine Waters saying the House is prepped to override the veto of Trump if it does come. And I think that's one of those things that just gets in the way. But maybe there is a window here for him to get this done and have clarity be a part of it. So let's go back to urgency here because the market is in meltdown. You guys have seen this. We've already seen Coinbase off 69, Oracle 57 down. These are all down. Netflix down 48. These are major stocks that are in almost every ETF, almost every fund out there. And I think if they don't watch out, the Democrats might get blamed for this, or at least Congress could get blamed if this continues to go down and we don't see stimulus or at least liquidity starting to flow back into the market. Maybe clarity is the trigger to help make that happen. Further into the crash cycle, you've got to look at MicroStrategy right there, or strategy, and that's the example of right now what's happening. And of course, Saylor tweeted after this, strategy remains the focus on Bitcoin. We appreciate all our investors to continue to execute. He put the master cash tag there to try to reinforce that. But this is one of the things I think that Congress may not completely understand what we are in right now in terms of the market. It is a free fall, and it could be getting into a contagion situation. So not a good situation overall. I want to go to another clip here because this is where people have maybe just lost hope in what Saylor is trying to do. Take a look.
I bought it at 400, then I bought it at 300, then 250, then 200, 150, 100. Now I want to buy it at 85. At what point is it just mental illness?
Today is the day that many people have given up hope. They've given up faith. And a lot of that is due to a single man. I said I bought $20,000. That was at like $84. We're at what, $77 right now? Are you kidding me? And say that Stretch is something that's as stable as a money market account? You disgust me. Everyone's telling him just stop buying Bitcoin for the love of God. Stop buying it. And he's not stopping. I'm not suing you. I've been buying more of this dog shit asset. It's a dark day.
So as you can see there, market absolutely in fatigue around Stretch and MicroStrategy. And I think the point is probably going to get to an issue if we continue to see Bitcoin going down. So another thing we should be concerned about, not only that of what's going on with MicroStrategy and Saylor, is what's happening in the rest of crypto. And most of that has been threatened by what's going on in the quantum debate. President Trump now signing 2 twin executive orders to accelerate U.S. quantum computing development. This in itself has already started to put pressure on Bitcoin as well as Ethereum and others. But there are some possibilities out there that could change this as Trump signs this quantum bill. Take a look.
The next 5 years, and we're going to be investing in American quantum leadership like never before. The second order I'm signing directs federal agency to transition to what is called quantum cryptography. Do anybody know what that is? You're going to hear very soon, so you're going to find it interesting. Cryptography.
All right, so as you can see there, Bitcoin, I don't think is prepared for quantum cryptography. It's cryptography is the idea behind this. But I don't think the government's prepared for this either. And then you have to look at to the possibility of what is prepared for it. Hopefully, Ethereum. SharpLink has now entered into their buying phase once again after 8-month hiatus. So this is good for ETH in general. Purchase lifts the holdings to 876,000 ETH. While all of this is happening in the market right now, while MicroStrategy is starting to run into some problems, guess what? On June 26, Russell 1000 is now getting one more participant, and that will be BMNR. So pretty big deal out there in the sense of how ETH, and remember that Tom Lee has put a limit on how much they're going to buy. 5% has been their target. He's been very consistent about this, and he understands the revenue opportunity of what that means, which is just the staking engine alone. It signals to the market that he and Bitmine won't end up being a detriment to the actual ecosystem with too much centralized control of the asset. And that is a concern that everybody's already voiced out there in terms of BlackRock, what's going on with MicroStrategy, et cetera, around Bitcoin. One thing that the market hasn't necessarily lost faith in, of course, is the AI play, and it may just be getting started here. Here's Ando talking about this. AI agents can now trade tokenized stocks. 40,000 virtual AI agents now are operational. This is just getting going too, guys. Imagine the kind of volume that we're going to see when AI agents out there are trying to leverage and get the best performing asset to get the most return for their masters, so to speak. I think this is going to be a huge continuation of AI integration going forward. So just to kind of connect the dots here, here's the co-founder of Optimism, and he talks a little bit about why we haven't even scratched the surface yet. Take a look.
I actually got into Ethereum because of my obsession with AI. There is a gold rush, as you know, to be embedded in the AI tool chain. It is going to be bigger and bigger every single year. Everything from X4 to MCP, just generally using an AI agent, they will oftentimes bring you on chain, whether you like it or not. I don't think we have even scratched the surface because our AI agents are just now gaining long-term memory. You can lose faith, you can lose sight, and you get sad, but the reality is that we are getting closer and closer to that original vision every single day. AI is enabling things to be built in crypto that have never been built before. Now, with AI, we are able to build more solid foundations that should lower the complexity and enable us to build greater capability. I really think that in the next year, we're going to see that capability jump. Literally, with the stuff that we're building, I can see that happening. That is the one thing that I'm super excited about, the massive acceleration in Web3 that comes from a Web3 without compromises. That was a pleasure.
We are talking about redefining how all of society is going to be working. And I think with the integration of AI, blockchain, and so on, the banks cannot stop this. It is not an if, it is a when, and it is a matter of whether or not the banks get in the way or if they actually come to the table and try to do something productive with the rest of it. So keep the faith, guys. I think we are in very early stages, and it's just beginning. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe, drop a comment down below, and also join our free private member group. The link is in the description.